Near the end of PWE's existence, I Believe in Wrestling's roster became more and more prominent at PWE. That included Larry Zbyszko and Chasen Rance. It included Raymond Snow, Sean Davis, Ray Bees, and TJ Perkins. How did bringing Believe In affect the morale in the locker room?
Well, I never have problems with any wrestler that comes in. But there are certain groups of people that probably think they're better than other people. Like when you come in and you get to work for Believe, you get to work for Vintage, you get to work from these, think of yourself as a very high level wrestler, which you should, but you should never put down the guys who's trying to come up. And there was people coming from the Believe thinking, putting down people, and that affect the locker room a lot.
Like, a lot of guys complained about it, but you're bringing in veterans that have been wrestling for years. You're bringing in students that have been trained by some of the best, and they're coming in and we're being able to compete with them. That's great. I mean, me personally, it's because of that I got to work guys that I learned a lot from. And I know, once again, Josh Rain, he learned a lot from working those guys. It was a great thing, bringing in more experienced wrestlers.
And it was just the PW is this very great place. It should have never went down the way it did. It was just a chance of, well, not even a chance. It was a mistake of bringing new people in and thinking that they needed help from other people that destroyed PW.
So we tried working with different people. We brought IK in, worked with him a little bit. Didn't really want to touch on that one. We brought Joey Machete in, the Fusion thing. We did some stuff with them. MSL hit me up and he was just like, I have a proposition for you, and he ran it by me and we talked it out a lot. And I actually took Lewis with me because I always was big about making sure, and George can contest this, that Lewis was 100% in the fold because he was my right-hand man. Even if I didn't agree with everything Lewis was pulling at the time, I always try to keep him involved. So we went out there, we had a meeting, we had discussed it with all the boys about what we should do. That was a good idea. He gave, he opened up the doors to opportunity for some of them to come out and work Believe. The two that I think benefited the most from that was Lewis and Josh.
Well, when they brought in Sean Davis, everything just went downhill from there.
I've done everything I can to help you. It's not my fault that you got a pea-brain in that big skull of yours. As far as I'm concerned, my favors are over.
It went from going out there and busting our ass to entertain, from going out there and it's just another night. I guess it was, I don't know if it was the booking or the atmosphere of the locker room. It didn't feel right,
I know Lewis kind of dropped the ball on that a little bit.
Tell us about it. You're the baddest man in pro wrestling Eclipse.
And they started coming out,
winning
and I
matches
thought
left and right
well.
every night.
I thought it improved quite a bit, actually. If you watch the matches before then, there were select matches that stood out. If you watch the matches after they came in, most matches stood out as good matches. But before then, the Aaron Epic matches and Josh Rain matches and Eric Cooper matches and the Mark Mandrake matches and, most part of the Kennedy Kendrick matches and things like that, they stood out as, these matches were good. But after they came in, then we started getting guys like Jarrell Clark and Gus Money and QT Marshall and, Leon came in right on that time, although that was a totally unassociated situation. But and the quality, in my opinion, got better when it came to quality for matches. Backstage, everyone played that, Hallmark cards and smiles bullshit, and
thought that was our chance, Hey, they gave us a great opportunity. You know what you do? You shake hands with them, make friends with them. It's all about who you know. Do what you gotta do.
Great opportunity for us. Great opportunity for other guys.
And we had one particular meeting where everyone was, bitching and complaining and stuff, and I was like, seriously, if you don't want to be here, don't fucking be here. And that's the approach I should have had from day one, because I let a lot of people walk all over me.
It's real simple. We're like brothers. Even though I used to bang his mom, we're still like brothers.
And basically, you know, in my opinion, Believe coming in did a lot to help us, and it did a lot to hurt us. It wasn't that it was malicious hurt, but it was just a lot of people took that more or less. There was a lot of rumors going around that I had sold it to MSL and that I had given MSL full control. In reality, there never was control handed over. You know, we brought Sean Davis in to help out a lot, more or less to help control the boys, and it wasn't even about him booking. A lot of people don't realize that Sean's booking influence was more that of an influence as opposed to him taking over the book, like a lot of people assumed. We just went with the fact that I was dealing with a lot of drama at the time in my life, and it was wearing on me. I let the show in the hands of the people who complain about Believe coming in, and we went from, you know, at least 40 fans a week to 8. And that's fact. I came to that show. I went in, you know, and sat down and watched the show that night. And I'm sitting there waiting for it. And I asked, you know, several people, "Did you promote this week?" "Well, no." "Well, why didn't you promote this week?" "Well, you promoted last week." "Well, you promote." George, part of a weekly show, he knows you have to promote. You can't just assume that the fans from the next week are coming back. And I just watched the show falter for a few weeks, and basically that's what happened. So in my opinion, I think Believe came in and they did a good job helping us. But there's more to it than just Believe when they came in. A lot of people kind of just assume it was like Believe, you know. Leon did a countless amount of work for us at that time.
What can I say
Leon
about
came
Martin
in,
Marvel?
he kind of took over, you know, locker room leadership.
You call him Trailer Park Trash?
Raven Snow came in and he started helping us out a lot. And a lot of people just assume that because Believe came in that these guys were there. But in actuality, we were already working with them before that. You know, it just happened to fall in place around that same time.
Going from being a Martin Marvel and I'm a guy in high school, then at some point you've got Larry Zbyszko in your locker room. How does that feel? Basically, I went from, and like I told you this on the phone, and I have no qualms admitting it, I went from shit show specialist where I got no respect, no anything, guys that, you know, wanted to sit on the boards and make fun of me all the time and stuff like that, to I had people like Larry Zbyszko coming to my show and wanting to set up a table and wanting to meet and greet with fans, wanting to do this stuff. And I got Jim Anvil Neihart calling me on my phone asking me about if he can come up and do the same. And I've got, you know, TJ Perkins, you know, and I've got, you know, guys that I respect, like, you know, Eric Cannon, you know, like, oh, you know, I would like to come with Clips. And I got guys, you know, from Ring of Honor and FIP, and I got guys that used to just laugh at me when I was in SW, you know, hit me up wanting to work. And at first it's a bit wavering in your mind. Like, you kind of mark out a little bit. But I did learn a lesson quite quickly that they didn't give a fuck about me. It's cool. Hey, you know, hey, I'm hanging out at Larry Zbyszko's house for God's sakes recently, like, you know, for around that same time, but do you think he gives a fuck? Not really.